All right. You good? All right. Ella, Dwayne, you guys ready to go? I know that guy. All right. So, good evening, everyone. We're going to call to order the January 2025. Man, it's loud in here. Planning and Zoning Board, City of Fort Lauderdale Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Before we get started, if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. We have a quorum. To my left, we have Patrick McTeague, Steve Gannon, and Jackie Scott. To my right, we have Jay Scheckman, John Barranco, Brian Donaldson, and Sherry McCartney. So we do have a quorum, and with that quorum, would somebody like to approve the minutes from our December 2024 meeting? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. None opposed. Motion carries. All right. If you are going to speak on any item that we have on the agenda tonight, please stand and take the oath of. Nobody's going to talk. That's pretty good.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
All right. Meeting adjourned. Robert, you can cite it. I'm not giving you the oath. Dwayne's going to give you the oath.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
And Chair,
Huh?
we only need sworn testimony for the first item, the first case.
I'm sorry, Dwayne.
We will only need the sworn testimony for the first case. That's quasi-judicial. The second, you won't need any disclosures on that, since it's just a comprehensive plan amendment.
Understood.
Okay.
So let's get going. Thank you for that. Case number one, UDP Z23006. Patrick, we'll start with you with disclosures.
Phone call from a counsel for the applicant.
And
Or
Steve
an
Gannon,
affected party, yeah.
Steve Gannon, site visit and phone call from the applicant's counsel.
Go ahead, Jackie.
I spoke to the attorney for the applicant.
Jay?
I spoke for the attorney representing the landowner affected.
Sherry?
I have none.
John?
Spoke to the attorney.
Brian?
As site visit.
Okay, and I also spoke to the applicant's counsel. All right.
Good evening, board members. Michael Ferrer, urban planner, case planner for this item, Z23006. So this item is in the Uptown project area, and as an incentive, the city will process the rezonings, the rezoning applications on behalf of the applicant. We've done this a few times throughout the last couple of years, and this is just another rezoning. The rezoning is, it's to rezone 225,706 square feet, 5.1 acres of land located at 6,000 North Andrews Avenue from General Business B2 District to Uptown Urban Village, Southeast UUV South SE District to permit a development of a mixed-use project on the site. I'm here if you have any questions, and the applicant is here as well.
All right. Any questions for the applicant before we open it up to the public for comment? Seeing, hearing none. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public participation, bring it back for additional discussion and or a motion. That glass of wine's getting warm.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of case number UDP Z23006 based on the findings of fact in the city staff report, and the testimony heard by the applicant, which was none. And the board hereby finds that the application meets the applicable criteria of the ULDR cited in the staff report.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have 2 seconds. We'll give this one to you, Patrick, and we'll let you do the next one. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Donaldson,
Yes.
Ms. McCartney,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. McTeague,
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Barranco,
Yes.
Mr. Scheckman,
Yes.
Chair Weymouth.
Yes. Thank you, Mike.
And Steve Gannon's yes also.
Did I not call you?
You didn't, but I made the motion, so it's okay.
Oh my goodness, thank you.
You want to do it all over again?
Apologize. I was thinking
We've got
Cohen,
plenty of
and I
time.
just skipped right over your name. I'm so sorry.
Okay, all right. Talked him off the ledge.
That's an 8. 8 people voted yes.
Okay, next up, case UDP L24004. Ms. Tappan.
Lorraine Tappan, Urban Design and Planning. The city is asking the board to consider an amendment to the future land use map to change the future land use designation of the Beach Community Center from commercial to parks, recreation, and open space. As you already know, the city is undertaking an effort to rezone all parks to a park zoning district. With this amendment to the future land use map, the city can come back to you with that rezoning application for the Beach Community Center to rezone it to also to a parks zoning district. The city is also asking the county to update their future land use map and change the designation on their map also to a parks future land use designation. The intent of the application is for the long-term preservation of park and recreation space. It also fulfills a comprehensive plan, parks, recreation, and open space element policy that requires the city to rezone all parks to the parks zoning designation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions of the applicant? Seeing none, we'll open it up for public comment. Mr. Bells, would you like to say a few words? You're going to need to get sworn in before you do, sir.
No, not on this item.
No,
It's fine.
okay.
Yes.
Don't worry about it. You don't have to swear.
Hey there, Norby Bells. I am the vice president of the North Beach Shops business district. It's right there. I'm also a resident who lives literally right next door to the Beach Community Center. And I'm just coming to speak in support of this rezoning. I speak on behalf of the businesses. We cherish the Beach Community Center. It's a good asset to our neighborhood. Our residents use it quite a bit, and so we're very supportive of it being zoned as a park, recreation, open space. So just speaking in support. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to be heard on this? Hearing, seeing none, we'll close the public participation, bring it back to the board for further discussion and or a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any-
Unless you want to have it. Jackie, Ms. Scott.
I got one in.
Yeah, but Patrick cut off Brian.
I skipped him again, sorry. We can give it
There's
to
always
Brian
next
if you
month.
want.
All right, so we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, would you call the roll, please? And try to include Mr. Gannon this time?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Ms. McCartney,
Yes.
Mr. McTeague,
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson,
Yes.
Mr. Barranco,
Yes.
Mr. Scheckman,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Chair Weymouth.
Yes.
Motion
Motion
passes.
passes. All right, we're going to try to set a record here. Is there any communication to the city?
I like to bring something up, and I swear I'll be quick.
Oh, my God.
I have to ask.
Is
I don't wanna
it
be
a
the bad guy.
communication? Is this a communication?
We'll still beat the record. It's 6:09.
Is this a communication to the city, or is this a are you dragging your feet so he can be recognized as being here?
Bye. Are you going back to budget?
Is this a communication to the city, or is this for the good of
It
the
might
city?
be a communication to the city. I want to ask
All right.
Ella and Dwayne
So go ahead.
and the board. You know, 20 years ago, when the ordinance was written for valet parking. That ordinance now is kind of outdated because there's many things that have changed. And one of the problems is, Mike, don't get mad at me, Mike, I'll be defined on this, is no valet pickup on Las Olas. And there are certain sections of Las Olas, especially to the east, right, east of 12th, east of 15th, where that could be very helpful for the development of those properties and for the use. And I'm wondering if we should recommend that the city relook at that ordinance, because it's going to help the businesses and it would help the neighborhoods if we do that. Is that appropriate, Ella? To ask you to, I don't know
It's
how.
appropriate for the board to make a motion to communicate that to the city commission, but I'm not clear on what specifically you would like
Neither do I.
for us to be directed to look into.
Okay, let me go over with you two again. The ordinance precludes any valet parking pickup in front of the stores on Las Olas Boulevard. As you get east of 12th and 15th, restaurants do not have the ability to have valet pickup.
Like that Indian.
And so,
that
yeah,
restaurant.
Indian one, you've got Cuttin, whatever's opening tomorrow night. The only way they can have valet, which is critical to their success, is to have the stand in the middle of the neighborhood, which then circulates traffic through our neighborhood. If they had the ability to have, if we changed the ordinance or just simply updated it, where they could have valet pickup on Las Olas and then go to the appropriate lots where they've rented and designated, it's good for the city because they can pay for the parking that they're taking up. It's good for the neighborhood, and it's good for the success of the business. And I don't think all of Las Olas would necessarily want that, but I know at our end, Mike, I think it would be a real improvement.
It would be a nightmare west of you. What I would maybe suggest, and this is now moving out of this domain, but if you're specifically talking to cut and cover or cut and fillet or catch and cut, if you're specifically talking to them or even other restaurants, what I would suggest is they buy out the parking spaces right in front of them, because otherwise you're going to be stopping traffic. And it's a cost of doing business, but you take 3 or 4 parking spaces and make them exclusively yours where nobody can park there.
Let me address that. I agree with you.
Because
But
they
here's the
do
issue.
that
Let me-
for
Let me keep,
off of New River
let me
Drive.
keep going, guys. In that particular location or that section of the street, you have, once you get past 15th Avenue, you have only one lane going westbound. On the north side of that lane is a bike path, and then on the north side of that are some parking spaces. Well, 3 parking, they would obviously rent out those 3 spaces during the hours in which they're open, but where do they park? How do they accommodate people that are traveling to a nice restaurant? How do you accommodate them, where they park, how they get out of their car? It's just necessary. And I'm not trying to, I mean, we can do it just for cut and whatever, but I just wondered if we should look at it overall. It's certain sections of Las Olas.
I don't know how you write an ordinance or a rule or whatever you call it like that where it's exclusive to certain areas. I agree that what you've got, the conditions that are west of the Himmershey Canal are different than the conditions east
Correct.
of the Himmershey Canal. And so it would have a dramatic effect on all of the businesses to the east. I would suggest that before we start lobbying the commission with it, maybe have a conversation with Transportation Mobility,
And I've done that.
because I know that when Cuba Libre was going in on the corner of 8th and Las Olas, they made arrangements for securing parking through the Transportation Mobility, where it was their exclusive parking.
And all that is really happening, but I'm just bringing it to the board's attention in case we need
So
to look
maybe
at a
we
bigger.
table it. Let's see what happens or come up with a solution.
Okay.
'Cause
So for the sake of clarity, Dwayne, for the sake of clarity, the section of the code that's being referenced here is in Volume 1. It's not in the Land Development section. It's Section 26-226, Standards and Criteria for Application Review. And it deals specifically with valet operations within the rights-of-way of the city. So I just wanted to clarify for the record that it doesn't prohibit individuals from having valet services, but it prohibits them from setting up those valet services in the public right-of-way. And it identifies not just that certain area of Los Olas Boulevard, but certain other streets where at that time they were considered the congestion and some of the considerations that Chair Weymouth mentioned with regards to travel lanes and allowing those services to be in there. So just for the sake of the board and their consideration.
So does that mean they can't set up their valet stands? So the sidewalks on Las Olas are all 5 feet. So they cannot set up anything in the 5-foot right of way, but they can be under catch and cover, or catch and release, whatever it is. They would have to be on their property.
It would have to be on their property.
Well, see, that's the problem, D-Wayne. That's why this has to be looked at, because you've got businesses that could simply, during hours where they need valet, they could pay the city for the 3 parking spaces in front. That's where the valet could be picked up, take the client inside, let the car go to the lot they've rented. It would be a real improvement. I mean, I think that's going to happen somehow, but I just wonder if we should look at it so we're not coming back for every single business.
Well,
whatever the board wants to do.
I'll close my end with this, is that I would rather see you I would rather see you go through the formality with transportation mobility and have the support of many of the people in the general area, both commercial and residential, as opposed to change the rules or the law or what have you, and then just infuriate everybody. So I think if we try it at that location and it works, it may be the poster child for future situations.
I'm fine with that. I just wanted to bring it to the staff's.
And I think it's a great concern. You know,
Maybe it's better just to work on it with that particular location, and
I think the Indian place would come in too. Because
but maybe we just do it one at a time to test it, and then not do some, like Mike said, blanket thing that might affect other areas negatively. Okay,
Well,
so
yeah. We can talk about it offline.
Yeah, that's fine.
You show up late? I should.
Also,
Brad was not here, so he cannot be entertained.
I just have one thing. I have one thing to discuss. And
Is mine over?
I don't know.
I
Is
guess.
yours over?
Okay, it's over. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I had a comment. Also, there's a lot of question as to what Las Olas is going to look like. So I think for us to be bringing up a suggestion to the commission to look at a possible change in the rules when we don't know what the actual look of Las Olas, and there's millions of dollars already have been spent on the study and everything, and that's going to be going to the commission. So maybe some of the issues will be resolved in possibly redoing that entire road.
Yeah, it won't be resolved soon, but we'll get it done. Don't worry. Thanks for listening.
All right, I'm going to make this very quick. Where Solera is, this is my issue when we do new buildings. So when Solera came up, and I think it was in front of Planning and Zoning, when Solera came up on Federal Highway, it's like 721 South Federal Highway. There's Sushi Mas in there, and there's a coffee place in there. It's a big white building that, as you head north on US 1, right? It's on the west side. They have free parking in their right-of-ways, and the free parking in the right-of-ways, they have decided to put up cones during the day and say these spots are reserved for valet. That's why the only reason why I was bringing it up is because we were talking about valet. These spots are reserved for valet. Now, they're not paid spots. They're not spots that have the zone, like the thing that you can put on your phone, pay by phone, and there's no way to pay for those spots. They're just free spots that are open in that area, and they've decided to put up cones there and say that these are reserved for valet only. And I don't know, I've seen it a couple times where it's in the right of way, it's in the area where people can park. There's a whole enchilada that's down the street, and they started doing this when they started charging to park there. So they built this parking garage, it was free for a while, and Sushi Mas was there, and all these other businesses, they were benefiting from it. And then they said, you know what, we're going to start charging for parking there. And then they took the free spots that the city said, okay, you have to put these spots in order to build these spots in front of your building, and they decided to put cones up and say those are for valet only.
They can't.
Yeah,
right.
But
so I just.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask if that's something that.
Call Ben Rogers.
Okay, that's what I wasn't sure if that's something for the city to look at in terms of when buildings come in front of us, like for them to reserve free spots that aren't paid spots. You can't buy them from the city.
The problem with
Yeah,
that, Brad, is a lot of times when these buildings come before us, they have not let out the ground floor and know where there's going to be a restaurant and where there's going to be retail and all that. So maybe it should be part of the permitting issue of you're doing a restaurant. But I mean, these guys all have to make parking provisions when they come in
Right.
and apply. So it's in there somehow. It's just there's isolated cases like the two you guys have just brought up that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is another one that I would recommend Transportation Mobility Department.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll speak with
Exactly.
them. All right. Thank you.
Chair, since I started this mess, I just want to suggest that I want to make a motion to adjourn.
That was a good
Hopefully there's a second.
Second.
I will let all officials. I will let you know this is no longer the shortest P&Z meeting in history. Thanks to you guys.
How do you know? How do you know?
I know everything.
Ripley's, believe it
Yeah.
or not.
No, I think when you were chair, it was faster. That's why.
Exactly.